Hi, welcome back to Gravity Cheeseburger, where I share my life with you, a few minutes at a time. I want to show you something. Watch this. This is Romy, aka Romulus. He's the narcissist. He came to my side moments ago, and he looks at me. And I reach over to give him petties, and he backs up. I'm like, what are you doing? When I said, what are you doing? You know what he did? He turned around so that his little backside was facing me. That's his way of saying, scratch my back. He's a little narcissist. Yes, he is. All he wants from me is scratchies and treats. This is the hairbrush that I use to brush him. He gets his brushies, his scratchies from his mama. With an old hairbrush. See Bobo back there? I use the brush to scratch his back. That's all he wants from me. Back scratchies and foodies. I'm not sure he even cares about water. And he cares about these scratchies more than anything else. He let me do this one day, I'll bet you, for 5 minutes straight. Man, my arm's stiffened up. That's what y'all been doing. I ain't been doing nothing much different, except not posting near as many videos as I have in the past. I don't think I work any more than I used to, but man, it sure feels like it. The vantage point here is a little different. We moved furniture around in here. Well, we didn't. Daryl did. So my apartment now looks like I think it looks like a college dorm. I really do. We've got a full-size couch sitting in here. You can't see it because it's literally right behind me is television where Daryl sits and does his gaming. But yeah, it's kind of like the living room is divided by that television. The bedroom's over there. Living room's over here. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say it kind of looks like a college dorm. And of course, we are both slobs, so the messiness makes it look even more like a college dorm. I thought I'd hop on here and see if maybe there was something that I cared to talk about. And I know what I want to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it because it has weighed me down a little bit, and it's all over YouTube, it's all over everything, and it's just it's got my soul weighted down, and I'm looking for something to pick it back up because I don't like that feeling. I still smoking. Y'all have heard me say many times I'm going to quit, and I ain't even going to say it anymore. Um, let's see what's on Google News. Maybe I'll find something to talk about. Um, I could talk about work, but I don't want to talk about work. Uh, it's not that things are going badly at work. It's just I don't want to talk about work. Well, let's see. Mm, I don't see anything yet. I've scrolled through like 4 or 5 articles. Hmm. Still don't see nothing. I'm still scrolling. Oh yeah. Um, is it season 5 of The Chosen? Is going to be on the app soon. On the Chosen app. If you don't have the Chosen app, get the Chosen app. It's a great show. It's an awesome show. And get you a Chosen T-shirt, a swim against the current T-shirt. That's pretty awesome. Let's talk about this might be interesting story. It says, man who owned first ever Ford Mustang accepted incredible deal from Ford after company made several offers to repurchase it. Man who owned first ever Ford Mustang. Okay, this was published 2 days ago. It says the man who owned the first Ford Mustang accepted an incredible deal from Ford. I just said that. Stanley Tucker was an airplane pilot for Eastern Provincial Airways, but he's best known as being the first person to own a Mustang. Interesting, huh? Quite a historic claim to fame. While it wasn't something that was easy to part with, everybody has their price, and Ford offered up a good deal to him for him to return it. The car in question was one of 180 pre-production cars made to ease Ford into full production and to appear in every dealership, prior to the launch. Mustang serial number 1 wound up in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. On April 13th, Stanley Tucker had been driving past the dealership when he saw a crowd gathering. After seeing what all the fuss was about, he concluded he wanted to buy the car. The following day, he walked into the dealership where he found they weren't too keen to part ways with it. Tucker managed to convince the salesman to make it available 3 days early with a written check on the spot. And that's how this pilot became the first Mustang owner in the world. And he said, for a long time, I was the only Mustang owner in Newfoundland. It was quite an experience. Many times, another motorist would force me to the side of the road and ask me about the car, what it was, who made it, how I like it, and how much it cost. But that raises the question, how on earth did Ford buy the priceless car back from him? It was in the winter of 1965 when Ford approached Tucker with a deal. This wasn't the first time the company had tried to buy the car back, but he hadn't gone for any of its previous deals. With 10,000 miles on the clock, it didn't look like Tucker had any plans to part ways. But Ford presented him an undeniably good offer, the car being returned in exchange for a 1966 Mustang with any options of his choosing. Ultimately, he went for a Silver Frost Ford Mustang convertible with a TV set placed in the dashboard. Quit your crying, Bobo. Ironically, he still managed to land himself with a historic car, as this was the 1 millionth Mustang ever produced. The first Ford Mustang. The first Ford Mustang now resides at the Henry Ford Museum, and we can't think of a better place for the car to be. There are a lot of impressive car museums out there, including the Peterson Automotive Museum and the Rolling Through Time Auto Museum. And if you're really lucky, you might have enough money to have a car museum on your own property. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of that article. Well, that was kind of neat. So they didn't really buy the car back. They offered him a brand new car in trade. But the guy still ended up owning two one-of-a-kind vehicles. Here's something interesting. Little unsettling. It says a giant butterfly-shaped hole, 23 times the size of Earth, just opened up on the sun. That's a little nutty. Let's see if I can show you the picture. See that? It is shaped something like a butterfly, isn't it? A massive butterfly-shaped hole more than 23 times wider than Earth has opened up on the sun, sending a powerful stream of solar wind our way. This breathtaking cosmic phenomenon is not just a feast for astronomers, but a real-time event that could impact life here on Earth. Captured by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory between Monday and Thursday, the hole spans an astonishing 186,000 miles, enough space to line up over 23 Earths side by side. Known as a coronal hole, this dark region on the sun's surface forms when magnetic fields open up, allowing charged particles to escape as high-speed solar wind. Coronal holes are like gateways where the sun's magnetic field stretches and lets wind rush out into space. The solar wind emerging from this particular butterfly-shaped hole is racing toward our planet and is expected to make landfall by Sunday. Today's Sunday. The solar wind carries with it charged particles that can interact with Earth's magnetic field. When this happens, we may experience geomagnetic storms or disturbances that can trigger both technological glitches and spectacular natural shows like the Northern and Southern Lights. What does this mean for Earth? According to spaceweather.com, the solar wind from this vast coronal hole could bring geomagnetic storms classed between G1 and G2. This scale runs from G1, which is weak, to G5, which is extremely strong. Although these storms are relatively mild to moderate, they can still shake up satellites, disrupt communication networks, and even cause brief blackouts. For anyone relying on GPS or airline communications, disruptions may become noticeable during such events. On the other hand, people living closer to the poles could witness stunning auroras. Colorful waves of light caused from solar particles collide with molecules in Earth's atmosphere. Interesting. See if there's anything else worth talking about. Okay, here's an article from the Dodo. It's titled Man Leaving for Work Finds Dozens of Wild Babies All Over His Driveway. Let's find out what kind of babies he found all over his driveway. He said they were coming from every direction. When Megan Doyle's husband Tom began calling her one morning, she was confused. She had thought he was leaving for work, but on his way out of the garage, he accidentally stumbled into a mini emergency. Littered across the couple's driveway were dozens upon dozens of baby snapping turtles, all in need of a little assistance. He said, "My first reaction was excitement," he told the Dodo. "I have always loved turtles, and seeing so many tiny babies was heartwarming and so cute." The excitement quickly turned into a little bit of panic as the couple began trying to gather up all of the babies and then realized just how many there actually were. At first, they thought the babies were just scattered over the driveway, but then they discovered they were also in the grass on the back patio, and they even found a few in the garage. He goes on to say, "We checked around the yard for a nest but couldn't locate one. They were coming from every direction, it seemed, so it wasn't clear where their initial starting point was." The couple lived on the corner of a busy road and often see wildlife who have been hit by cars, and they wanted to make sure that didn't happen to any of the baby turtles. They gathered them all up as best they could and placed them in a box, then carried the box to a nearby pond to set them free. He said, "When we got to the pond, we placed them into the mud at the water's edge, and they immediately knew what to do. They headed into the water, and most of them swimming away, and a few digging into the mud to hide." The couple watched as the 30 or so babies they'd collected settled into their new home. They headed back to the house and immediately found 7 more babies waiting for them in the driveway. They later found 6 more, bringing the total to 43 baby snapping turtles rescued and rehomed. It wasn't how the couple had expected to start their day, but it quickly became the highlight. "Snapping turtles are so cool and beautiful. It made me so happy to help them," Doyle said. Well, that's kind of cool. But when I was a little kid, I was always told you want to leave snapping turtles alone because they're called snapping turtles for a reason. They snap, they bite. And I was always told that once they bite, they won't let go, and they're probably going to take your finger off. That was an interesting story. Oh, Goodness. This is not a good story. But I'm going to go ahead and read it. This story is coming out of Georgia. It says a woman was arrested in Gwinnett for trafficking, the second biggest fentanyl haul ever in Georgia, tied to the Mexican cartel. Prosecutors said that law enforcement recovered 25 kilograms of fentanyl, which is enough to kill 12 million people. A 34-year-old woman was arrested and charged with trafficking drugs for a violent Mexican drug cartel in Gwinnett County, according to warrants. Authorities said that when they arrested Celia Lara Rios, they found the second largest amount of fentanyl that they have ever seen in Georgia. Prosecutors said that law enforcement recovered 25 kilograms of the fentanyl, which is enough to kill 12 million people, or roughly the equivalent of the population of both Georgia and Delaware. It takes just 2 milligrams of fentanyl to kill the average-sized adult. Rios was taken into custody by Auburn police on the 14th of July off Pleasant Hill Road in Lawrenceville. Prosecutors told the local news station 11 Alive that Rios is a part of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, an organization the Drug Enforcement Administration had targeted in Gwinnett County before. In April, 5 people were indicted in Norcross as part of a federal crackdown on a drug trafficking and money laundering operation linked to the cartel. A federal grand jury indicted 7 people, including suspects in Georgia and Mexico, for their alleged roles in the scheme to distribute fentanyl and other drugs and launder more than $1 million in proceeds in just 2 months. Rios was supposed to appear in court on Friday afternoon, but her attorneys withdrew her request for bond, so she will remain in custody. And that is the end of that article. I'm very glad that she was caught and arrested, but she wasn't doing that by herself. She got them drugs from somebody else, and they need to get that person too. Or persons. Yeah. I know I'm not the only person who is sick and tired of people dying from drug overdoses in this country. When I was a kid, there was pot, there was hash, there was acid. Of course, any pill that you could sneak out of your grandma's medicine cabinet that might make you feel loopy. Of course, I think cocaine is something that's been around forever. I think, I don't remember what the drug was called. PCP was the big baddie when I was young. It was PCP. Well, no, actually heroin was the big baddie, but nobody talked about that because when I was young, you didn't know anybody that did heroin because heroin was for rich folks, rock stars and shit like that. Who was that? One of them guys in Motley Crue did it, and the stories about his heroin use were absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely terrifying. So it's not like that was anything that I would have ever done when I was young, and I honestly couldn't imagine anybody else that I knew doing it either. But who knows? Maybe they did, and I just didn't know. But like I said, that was um, that was the rich folks' drug. You didn't do that unless you was a rock star. But somehow it became cheap enough that common folks started doing it. Anyway, and I'm not endorsing drug use at all. I'm just talking about it. So here's an article announcing the winning Mega Millions jackpot. For the $381 million jackpot on September 12th, there was a 20K winner in Ohio, it says. The jackpot now jumps to $400 million. Although nobody won the $381 million jackpot in the Mega Millions drawing on Friday, September 12th, the Ohio Lottery says there were thousands of similar prizes, including a $20,000 winner hit throughout the state. These prizes included one $20,000 winner, one $1,500 winner, two $1,000 winners, two $800 winners, seven $600 winners, six $400 winners, 33 $100 winners, 113 $70 winners, 53 winners of $50, 103 winners of $40, 188 winners of $35, 257 winners of $30, 421 winners of $28, 416 winners of $25, 1,024 winners of $21, 1,295 winners of $20, 2,321 winners of $15, 1,522 winners of $14, and 3,368 winners of $10. But nobody won the big one. That's a lot of winners. That's a lot of winners, really. I mean, relatively small prizes, but still, that's a lot of winners. I got me a Mega Millions ticket. I ain't checked the numbers yet. Maybe I'm one of them winners. Oh, let's see. What else we got in here? Let's read about the Cracker Barrel woes. Y'all have heard about the Cracker Barrel controversy, I'm sure. Okay, this is an article from Fox News. It says, Cracker Barrel fan says healing absolutely begins now after restaurant chain nixes makeover, which is good because I saw pictures of it. I thought it was just dull. Dull. Okay, it goes on to say, Cracker Barrel Old Country Store is calling off its makeover. After months of customer outrage over revamped logos, redesigned dining rooms, and lower food quality, the Tennessee-based restaurant chain announced Tuesday that it is suspending its store remodels and doubling down on the food that made it famous. Well, they should have done that to begin with and just skipped all that stupid stuff. Who was it I heard saying that Cracker Barrel made biscuits as big as your fist? Well, you know who else makes biscuits as big as your fist? Tudor's. Tudor's Biscuit World. And it just reminds me I haven't had Tudor's Biscuit World for a while. They're only open until 2 in the afternoon up here around my place. But I'm telling you, they have got something they call a big tater. It's fried potatoes, a scrambled egg, crumbled bacon, a big as your fist biscuit, and delicious sausage gravy. And there's cheese. They'll put cheese sauce in it too if you want it. All in a big to go. Well, I mean, if you go to the restaurant and eat it, they'll stick it on a plate, I'm sure. But I don't go to sit down restaurants anymore. I get food to go, bring it home, and pig out. Anyway, yum. If you never had a big tater, you need to go get you a big tater. They're just freaking awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Get you a big tater. And that makes me not even want to talk about Cracker Barrel anymore. So, anyway. Northern Lights, hole on the sun, may spark aurora in the U.S. this weekend. We just talked about that. Oh, here's one. Kind of touches on something I didn't really want to talk about, though, but since, I don't know, this is Ohio. This says local Ohio councilman says he's hiding in fear for his life after Charlie Kirk post. Let's see what the man said that has him fearing for his life. Okay. This was written by USA Today. It says, give me a minute, this guy has a funky name. We'll have to sound it out. John Impellizzeri, an Ohio councilman, says he and his family are hiding at federal officials' advice after 500 plus threats over a post criticizing Charlie Kirk. Key points. A Monroe Falls councilman says he and his family have gone into hiding at the advice of federal officials after getting more than 500 threats over his Facebook post criticizing Charlie Kirk. John Impellizzeri said he's in fear for his life after his post following the conservative leader's assassination was shared nationwide by libs of TikTok, which was completely tasteless and evil. Anyway, it doesn't say exactly what it was that he said. Threats escalated after the post was shared on X. A member of the Monroe Falls Police Department told the Beacon Journal the department has not yet received any threats, and he is not aware of any threats made to the city. The police representative declined to provide his name or job title. Impellizzeri's Facebook account has since been deactivated, but screenshots of the post have been widely circulating on social media. That's interesting. I never saw it. And I live in Ohio. In the post, Impellizzeri questioned why right-wingers who are calling for blood after the death of Charlie Kirk didn't speak out after attacks on Democrats. The post ends by stating, "The world is a better place now that he's gone." First of all, I can't even think of any attacks on Democrats, except, what was it, about a month or so ago when I'm pretty sure it was a Democrat who killed a Democrat. Uh, I don't. I think he may have been a senator. He was some sort of legislator. He was in, you know, part of the official government structure, and targeted two different, killed the two, but only wounded the others. And that was my understanding, is that that was Democrat on Democrat violence. Well, um, okay. Okay, it goes on to say, Pellizzeri said the post, while meant to be critical of things Kirk said during his lifetime, was not intended to condone his murder. The phrase, the world is a better place now that he's gone, is a direct contradiction to him saying that it was not intended to condone Kirk's murder. Really? You think we're stupid? I ain't stupid. Anyway, I'm not even gonna finish reading that. That's trash in my opinion, and I am not reading any more of it. But that's supposedly happened here in Ohio. I don't think it mentioned. Well, yeah, did it? Did it mention what part of Ohio it was in? I don't remember. Anyway, moving on. 5 of the rarest limited edition Firebirds ever built. I love classic cars, but I'm going to pass on that. FDA issues urgent recall of popular boxed macaroni and cheese. Then there's an article about Princes William and Harry. 28 legit ways to make money, side hustles. It's not a side hustle. It's just second freaking job. Yeah, if you are door dashing, or if you are driving for Uber or Lyft, that's not a side hustle, y'all. It's a second job. Okay, let's be real. Let's be real. It's a second freaking job, which means not only are you working your ass off at one job and not making enough money, you're also putting a lot of wear and tear on your personal vehicle that gets you to that job where you're not making enough money. So I hope you make enough money to buy another car, because that's what you're going to have to do. Working your ass off like that. That's ridiculous. Nobody should have to work 2 damn jobs just to live. What else have we got here? Hey, have you heard about that conspiracy theory where people are starting to say that Garth Brooks might be a serial killer? Look it up on YouTube. I don't know if I buy that or not, but this dude was throwing out some reports of people having gone missing, bunches of them, in where Garth Brooks was at. Like, and this goes back like I think it was like 10 years. It's kind of crazy. Look it up. Look it up. It'll blow your mind. house. Oh my goodness. Okay. Since I did that, I got to tell you. Here's an article from The Guardian. It says Zoran Mamdani, or Mamdani, I guess is how you pronounce his name. Mamdani says, as mayor of New York, he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever came to New York. Really? On what grounds? He said he would try to honor ICC warrant for Israeli Prime Minister's arrest over war crimes. What's ICC? I don't even know. Okay, it says Mamdani, the Democratic nominee in the November 4th election, alleged to the New York Times on Thursday that Netanyahu was a war criminal who was committing genocide with Israel's military campaign in Gaza, according to a report published by the outlet on Friday. He said he would honor an international criminal court. I guess that's what ICC is, International Criminal Court. International Criminal Court, really? I don't know about that. Said he would honor a ICC arrest warrant issued in November of last year for Netanyahu's arrest over alleged Gaza war crimes by having the Israeli leader taken into custody at the airport if he ever steps foot in New York. He said, quote, "This is something that I intend to fulfill," unquote. "It is my desire to ensure that this be a city that stands up for international law." You know what? The state that New York is in right now, you ought to just concentrate on upholding New York law first. And let's have it so there are no more people burned alive on your subways. How about that, Mom Donnie? And I'm not even going to read the rest of the article, because that is horse shit. So, a store in Oregon gets a hefty check of $81,000 for selling the winning Mega Bucks jackpot ticket. And as we scroll further down, we see Justin Bieber shares a list of rules for the Bieber family as he and his wife Haley mark their 7th wedding anniversary. Well, I hope he's a good father. That's kind of neat. Time has really just whizzed right by, because it didn't seem like that long ago that they got married. Not that I am very interested, but Justin Bieber, you used to not be able to get away from him in the same way that you can't get away from Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce right now. Okay, here's some more news about the Powerball. Lafayette man wins $50,000 prize in September 3rd Powerball drawing. Congratulations! Spend it wisely. And then, born on this day in 1911, the father of bluegrass. And I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and that's only because I'm old. Bill Monroe. Elvis made Bill Monroe mad. Elvis made the Grand Ole Opry mad when he came. Elvis was invited to the Grand Ole Opry, and he sang his rendition of Bill Monroe's Blue Moon of Kentucky. And he made it sound like rockabilly. And Mr. Monroe didn't like that, and neither did the Opry, and they never invited him back, and I'll bet you they regretted that. Told the biggest superstar of all time that he should go back to driving a truck. Computers taught to read Dead Sea Scrolls and hunt for clues hidden from human eyes. What else we got here? The gorgeous flower you will want to plant in September to attract hummingbirds. Let's find out what it is. Red valerian, also known as Jupiter's beard, is a great way to attract gorgeous hummingbirds to your yard through the fall and winter. Hey, wait a minute. I thought hummingbirds migrated in the winter. That's all that I'm interested in that article. What else do we have here? What else we got? The rare, beautiful bird thought to be extinct is rediscovered after 100 years of no sightings. It's called a night parrot, a small green and yellow species long considered near mythical across Australia's interior. And I can't see that. It's too bright. It's still too bright. Doggone it. I wish I could share this so that you could see it. Doggone it. Maybe if I turn my brightness down a little bit. There. Can you see it? Pretty little bird. Anyway. And then there's another article about Justin Bieber. Some delicious looking food. Clever way to use old coffee containers. On this day in 1965, Buck Owens hit #1 with an album inspired by a gas station slogan. Do you know who Buck Owens is? Ask Dwight Yoakam who Buck Owens is. Growing up in Dust Bowl era, Arizona, Alvis Edgar Buck Owens Jr. taught himself to play guitar, mandolin, horns, and drums. His day job as a truck driver took him through Bakersfield, California. There he fell in love with the town and its local music scene. With his sparkly Fender guitar, Buck Owens kicked off a string of chart-topping hits in 1963. The first came when he recorded the Johnny Russell song Act Naturally. On this day in 1965, he and his band, the Buckaroos, hit #1 on the Billboard country charts with the album I've Got a Tiger by the Tail. Released in 1965. It was the Buckaroos' 6th #1 single in its title track. Owens came up with the idea after seeing an Esso gas station billboard with the company's slogan, "Put a tiger in your tank." That's kind of cool. else? We have an article saying Motley Crue kicks off Vegas residency with first show since Vince Neil suffered a stroke. Vince Neil. You know, I really respect all the old guys who are still out there rocking, like Motley Crue, Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones. Ain't heard a lot out of John Bon Jovi recently. Springsteen, I don't even like him anymore. He done pissed me off. Anyway, I really do think, though, at some point they need to stop touring because, when Motley Crue was young and hot in their 20s and acting like dumbasses, you know, they were hot. That's all there is to it. But looking at this picture of Motley Crue on stage, even their dancing girls who are supposed to look like strippers are a little chunky. And poor Vince, he looks like his liver's just trying to climb right out over his jeans. Yeah. Oh, who is that? Iggy Pop. I saw a picture of him, and that old man had got the nerve to perform still without a shirt on. Oh my, that's frightening. That's just frightening. Iggy Pop with no shirt on. Oh, let's cut that stuff up, buddy. Oh. Mm. Alrighty. Now it's time to get ready for Halloween. Can Epsom salt help keep your roses blooming into the fall? I don't know. Do you? Tri-state resident wins $2 million annuity, top prize from Ohio lottery scratch-off ticket. The ticket was a Royal Riches scratch-off. The article is coming out of Ripley, Ohio. A routine stop at the Village drive-thru in Ripley turned into a life-changing moment for one lucky customer who purchased a $30 Royal Riches scratch-off ticket and won the game's $2 million annuity top prize. The winner opted for annuity payments of $80,000 a year over the next 25 years before federal and state tax withholdings. Well, let's hope this person pays their taxes, and doesn't get greedy. I hear so many stories of people winning large lottery jackpots and they don't pay taxes on it. Next thing you know, they've spent all the money and then they owe all them taxes. And then what they do? I don't know. What are you supposed to do? Make them go sell all the stuff that they bought with the money? Well, not everything they bought they can sell, because I know good and well that, they spend money on things like food. Yeah, I'm sure that you can take clothing back, but only if you keep the receipt, I guess. I don't know, but I'm sure that they do things like, well, if they got any sense, they're going to pay off or pay up their bills. They're going to buy things that can't be refunded, like fancy cell phones, maybe the ridiculously expensive um, cable package, or I don't know, uh, buy subscriptions to television services that they hadn't had for a while. Maybe they'll spring for getting Netflix and Hulu, and just get them all. I can afford it. Just get them all, and probably never even watch them. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, congratulations, buddy, whoever you are. I'd sure be happy with $80,000 a year for the next 25 years. Because, first of all, I don't think I'm going to live another 25 years. I'll be 57 years old here in just 4 days. So if I were to live another 25 years, I would be 80 something. I don't know. I might live that long. Who knows? But I don't imagine life will be very comfortable at that age, especially considering how uncomfortable it is at this age. Oh, what else we got here? On this day in 1972, a teenaged Tanya Tucker made mind boggling country music history. She says, I chose that song and I don't know why. What were you doing on any given September day as a 13-year-old? If you were Tanya Tucker, the correct answer would be making country music history. Indeed, while the average teenager was sitting at a school desk listening to their teacher, Tucker was cutting records in Nashville, Tennessee, with a husky voice that defied her age. Tucker became one of country music's youngest superstars with a song about a middle-aged woman from Brownsville who walks downtown with a suitcase in her hand. Delta Dawn. Who doesn't know Delta Dawn? If you don't know Delta Dawn, you've literally been living under a rock with somebody sitting on the rock and squashing you. Ow. Anyway. Oh, how I do prattle on. What else we got here? Nothing? Well, not necessarily nothing. Country star forced to cancel show due to safety concerns. Here's another lottery story. $1.8 billion Powerball about Texas, Missouri winners who bought tickets from Quick Trip Big 103's gas station in Fredericksburg, Texas, and a Quick Trip in St. Louis, Missouri sold winning September 6th tickets for $1.787 billion Powerball prize. Almost a week after the nation's second largest lottery prize in U.S. history dominated social media feeds and online news, the respective lottery headquarters in Jefferson City, Missouri, and Austin, Texas, are preparing for the vetting process, pending whether the winners have already come forward. September 6th, Powerball lottery streak that lasted through the summer ended when a pair of tickets matched all 5 numbers plus the Powerball to win almost $1.8 billion. The 13th time in U.S. history a lottery jackpot reached and surpassed $1 billion. 13th time. Huh. That's interesting. I never heard about it. 2 tickets sold in Missouri and Texas matched all 5 numbers. Okay, they'll split the lottery jackpot, so each of them will get a little more than $500 million initially, but of course somebody takes their share of it, and they're probably only going to end up with maybe 300 million, maybe, who knows. Quick Trip gas station and convenience store 12110 Lusher Road in St. Louis, Missouri. Biggs 103 gas station and convenience store 11905 East US Highway 290 in Fredericksburg, Texas sold the winning tickets. And that's pretty much all they say. I got the impression that nobody's come forward to claim that massive prize. I wonder if only one of them comes forward to claim the prize, if he gets the whole prize. Yeah. The news cycle has been dominated by other things, so we may never know. But listen, y'all. I have been spewing nonsense into your ears for a little more than an hour now. So I think I'm just going to knock it off, plug my phone back into charge, and go play my silly little Facebook games. So, I will see you again sometime. Love ya. Mwah.